All right, welcome back to another episode of Deep Thoughts with Dill. Today we got Rich here.
How's it going?
What's up, Rich?
Good, man. How
Good.
you doing?
Good, doing well. I've known you for a couple months now.
Couple months.
So let's get into it, man. Where'd you grow up?
Los Angeles, California. I was born in Santa Monica, Venice area. Lived there for about 12 years. Then moved to Nashville in 2010 before moving back to LA in 2017. Lived in Venice since then. So now we're in 2022, out in Tucson for the meantime.
Hell yeah, good old Tucktown, baby.
Yeah, Dirty T.
Yeah, worst place on earth.
Yeah, we're in hell.
So that's kind of interesting. You grew up in LA, but then you moved to Nashville for a little while. What do you think the big difference between LA, let's say Venice, and Nashville? What was, you know what I mean?
It was a culture shock, honestly.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of LA is that it's a huge like mixing pot of all different ethnicities and races. And I moved to Nashville, and it was just kind of, it was outside of Nashville, like 20 minutes outside. It's called Franklin, Tennessee, and it was just kind of predominantly white and black. And I don't know, it's a whole different. It's a lot slower.
Yeah.
A lot of country music. Just a whole different vibe out there that I wasn't used to.
Totally.
Yeah, that's the main thing I'd say.
Yeah, that's interesting. And like I've heard a lot of country musicians live out there in Nashville, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like a super popular area for country music stars and shit, right?
Absolutely, it's the mecca for. I mean, honestly, all music, like Los Angeles, Nashville, and New York are like the three main cities for music. All music companies. That's where they're located.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I could see that. So what was Venice like?
Venice. So I live there. I live there now. It's a crazy place, dude. It's hard to explain. I'm sure you've been there, right?
Been there one time.
One time, yeah. It's everything at once. It's nice. It's shitty. It's a circus. Is the best way I can describe it. I've had good times there.
Yeah.
Horrible times. They call it the ghetto by the sea. I don't know, man. There's a lot to it.
And what would you say? What kind of like different groups are in Venice? Different scenes. Like I've heard about like Muscle Beach and a lot of skateboarders.
Yeah. So the Muscle Beach part. So that's like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 80s. There's a huge still is like a bodybuilding community down there. Then you got massive skater surfing community down there, like the Dogtown scene that came up in the 70s.
It's called the Dogtown.
Yeah, Dogtown. Yeah, that's where skateboarding was essentially born, in the Ocean Park area.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, which is in between Venice and Santa Monica, the Ocean Park, and then there's waves down there. They're pretty shitty waves, but just the whole scene down there is really big into surfing. And then at the same time, there's a punk rock scene down there. Suicidal Tendencies was huge in the 80s, 90s, and then then going into that, there was a lot of gang activity. Still is. 80s, 90s, early 2000s, kind of died out. Around 2010 is when like Snapchat moved down there and like a lot of big tech companies. So it got kind of gentrified, but it's starting to rise again due to homelessness. Like someone has to control those areas. The gangs never really died out, but it's back, the violence and whatnot.
Okay, so the gang, what would you call that?
The gangs out there?
The gang environment is kind of coming back.
Yeah,
For sure.
the shootings have picked up. I can't. The two main gangs out there are Shoreline Crips, Venice 13.
Okay.
I never really. I just see like tagging of Venice 13. I've never really seen them really active out there, but Shoreline's out there for sure. And then like back in the 90s, like back to suicidal tendencies, like there was a gang. It's sort of like a gang. It's like there's weird like half gangs. I don't even know what you'd call them. Just like groups of like white skater gang type things that were like. I think they were called suicidals, something like that.
Okay.
It's kind of like Nazi movement type shit. If you've seen, what's that movie? American History.
American History X.
Yeah, type shit like that.
That's so like what an interesting place, you know. That's really fascinating, at least to me, just all that. And it's weird how, you know, a town by the beach in SoCal could have gangs like that, because I think when a lot of people think of the beach, they think of, especially nowadays in SoCal, they think of, you know, these, you know, $2 million homes. And I'm sure there is a lot of that. I mean, you were basically saying that, you know, I mean, nowhere in California is cheap.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how it could have a presence like that. And then especially because I feel like California is really like that. Like you know, you're in one area and you're by like some $1 million homes, and then you go 2 blocks, you know, one way and you're in the hood.
Yeah,
you know?
That's Venice to the T. Like you go down one street, super nice, and then you hit one little alley and it's just shit. Just homeless people pissing down your fucking lawn. Ugh. It's gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
It's a really weird place.
Totally.
I love it though. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a vibe of its own for sure.
Was it fun growing up in Venice?
Yeah, it's like there's nothing like it. You can just skate around and like it's a fucking circus, dude. Like there's something always happening, girls everywhere, fights going on. There's always trouble you can get into if you're into getting into trouble, which I was for sure.
Yeah.
And but the homeless problem, which didn't really, it's always been bad, like homelessness by the beach, but it's reached levels now that I've never seen or anyone's really seen. Yeah.
Wow.
The entire boardwalk has become like Skid Row, and Rose Street in particular, they call it Skid Row's now, and Rose and Main, it's all just turned to shit, and that's also why the gang violence has kind of picked up, because they need to control those tents, you know, serving ice and fentanyl and whatnot. Everyone's kind of migrated down there due to the councilman, the fuck is his name? Forgot his name, but the laws are really loose around encampments down there. So it's become kind of a safe haven for the homeless.
What do you think like made, what do you think like started a rise in, like, was it COVID? You know what I mean? Like,
that's when it really picked up.
Yeah, I feel like it was. So that's so crazy, dude. I mean, I remember going to Santa Monica, and I went to Venice, and I saw, like, you know, tweakers and homeless people, but nothing like what you're describing. That's so crazy that it's picked up that much.
Yeah, it's insane. You'll see a mansion, and then a couple feet outside of it, just tents. Like, I would be so pissed if that was my house.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh yeah, I'm sure a bunch of people are too. It's But yeah, so that's crazy. You're saying that the gangs have to control all the tents by the beach by selling drugs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the boardwalk is controlled by that, and then people actually blend in as homeless people to sell those drugs to people. So they'll fake as a homeless person, like live in their car, but just have like bricks in their car, serving.
Oh wow, interesting.
There's a couple stories like that.
And what? So there's obviously a lot of homeless drug addicts. What do you think is the number one drug that people are on out there?
Ice, for sure.
Ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of ice,
Yeah.
and fentanyl, mostly fentanyl. It seems like both. It used to be crack and heroin.
Yeah.
Now it's purely ice and fentanyl, and a lot of K2, believe it or not. Like,
Ooh, really?
yeah, when you see, I used to think it was like ice, like when I was little, people were freaking out in the street, but that's synthetic weed.
Yeah.
And people are having adverse reactions to it. But yeah, it's mostly ice down there.
That K2 shit's terrible too. I remember trying that a couple of times when I was pretty young, actually, and it's I mean, it's really nothing like weed. It feels terrible. It's like have you tried it before?
Yeah, I think I have on accident. Nothing. Thank God, nothing really happened to me. I heard it reacts differently with some people.
Yeah.
But I think I did on accident.
Yeah. It's no fun, dude. It's really scary and.
Yeah, there's so many smoke shops, you know, down there on the boardwalk, just selling that bullshit.
Ugh. And so you went to college.
Yes.
Where'd you go to college?
Still in college at Loyola Marymount.
Okay,
so
sweet.
It's about 10 minutes from Venice, right by the airport in Westchester.
Ooh, okay.
Right.
And what were you studying when you went to college?
Communication.
That's right. Okay, communications. And can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what is communications? Like, when you take a class for that, like, you know, what are you learning? Like, in that type of stuff?
Just different dialects, just how to communicate with people, different skills, people's emotions, how groups organize.
Okay.
Just communication is just key to anything in life, really. I saw that as like just the most important thing that I could major in. I was just really focused on getting into college, and
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet in life, but as I progressed in college, I kind of focused on what I wanted to do, which is like more focused in the music industry. I worked a couple internships, and that's kind of what my goal is now.
That's badass, dude. What can you talk about the internships that you did?
Yeah, I worked at Atlantic Records, Live Nation. Worked marketing for both of those companies.
That is sick.
Yeah, I worked APG underneath Atlantic, and worked for Kevin Gates and NBA YoungBoy, and Elite Choppa. We had fucking Bad Baby on the label. It sucks. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The like Cash Me Outside girl.
Oh, Bad Barbie.
Yeah, whatever her name is. Just
Yeah.
like she was on the label. But yeah, YoungBoy. Who else was on it? Fredo Bang.
Is he a Chicago guy?
No, he's from Louisiana.
Oh, he's Louisiana. Okay. That's sick, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of Louisiana rappers.
Yeah, on there. Yeah, Thomas would like that.
Yeah, he would, for sure. I think he's a big NBA YoungBoy guy.
Absolutely, Baton Rouge.
Yeah, man. Did you ever meet YoungBoy or any of them?
No, I met No Cap, if you know who that is.
Who's that guy?
He's from Alabama. He's
okay.
pretty big. I met Kevin Gates.
How was that?
It was cool. Just kind of like a what's up. But I met a few people. I met Juice WRLD through that.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't on the label, but just like I was working backstage at Bonnaroo, and I met him a few months before he passed.
Okay.
But it's really cool, bro. That's my passion for sure. That's why I like staying out in LA. It's a crazy city, but you know, a lot of temptation. But
I feel like that's definitely the place to do it too. Like, you know, LA, you know, there's so much stuff like that and creative people to be doing something like that, you know.
Absolutely. It's a crazy place, but once you focus and, you know, in my case, clean my shit up, you know, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Focused.
Fuck yeah, dude. And can you talk a little bit about your addiction?
Yeah, sure, man. So yeah, I've been, shit, where do I begin? Where do you want me to begin?
Well, I guess we could just spitball off of it. I know you said your main thing was Xanax.
Yeah.
When did you first try Xanax?
Shit. So I came back, I was on an island in Samoa. I did a program out there. I came back after a year. I think my mom had a script for it. I was 15. took some of those blue footballs, off to the races. I kind of tried it throughout high school, and I had like 3 friends pass on me, kind of back to back over a year period. And bars kind of took off in 2016.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do remember that, yeah.
And it was everywhere, dude. And I just kind of found it. Started popping a lot of bars. Just wanted to forget everything. And, did some stupid shit. Got in trouble at school. Had to go to like an alternative learning school. Like by juvenile detention. Almost didn't graduate. And stopped taking them. And then by college, I had a panic attack. I told my doctor about it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna put you on something called Xanax. I don't know if you've heard of it." My dumb ass was like, "Oh yeah, like I think I've heard of it," when I should have been like, "Hell no." And that was it, bro. I prescribed me 0.5, and I kept refilling that script all the way up to, I think I was on, it was 1 milligram, but I was on that, bro, for 4 years, every single day.
Wow.
And I was taking up to like 5 milligrams a day. So.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you combine that with, I had a serious drinking problem. I've had that for a long time, but I kind of use the Xanax to control that, if that makes sense. Because I'm really into boxing and sports in general, and drinking would inhibit that. So the Xanax, I wouldn't feel a hangover as bad, if I didn't drink as much. I could take a couple footballs, and dude, it was just a mess. You add Adderall on top of that. I had a script for those, the 30s.
Yeah.
And just to be in school, just a fucking mess. Seizures, the whole 9 yards, detoxing. I've been trying to get this shit straight all year. Done a lot of stupid shit off them too. It's a gnarly fucking drug, dude.
Yeah, it's a terrible drug. I mean, it's crazy because like for the people that don't know, to be on Xanax for 4 years, even if 1 milligram, that seems harmless, but to be on, to be even beyond Xanax for that long, that's a pretty fucking, I'm sure that was hard as fuck to get off of, like psychologically,
Yeah, physically, psychologically, you name it. I had the 1 milligram script, but I was taking 5 of them a day. So
yeah,
it was brutal.
So 5 milligrams a day. I remember being a sophomore in high school and taking a bar and a half, which would be 3 milligrams.
Yeah.
So I would do shit like that from time to time when I would take Xanax. And I remember when I was first kind of getting into them at like 16, I remember taking a bar and a half, and I blacked out just off of that. Have no idea what happened. I was at school. Somehow I made it through without like getting in trouble, but I heard stories about like what was going on. That I was like cursing at people, and like I had my face in the book, and I was like drooling, and
I've been there, dude. At school.
Yeah, man, and I was.
It's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's really horrible. It's like holy shit, and but so I'm saying like, you were taking 5 milligrams a day. That's a habit. That's like serious. That's
bad, dude.
I don't know how much. I think most of my viewers are, recovering addicts, and so. I'm sure, they'll know if they don't that, Xanax withdrawal is one of the only withdrawals that can kill you.
Yep.
That and alcohol.
Yep.
So.
Both of those together was hell, for sure. Felt like my eyes were fucking popping out of my sockets. Like withdrawing from that.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have seizures and shit?
I've had several seizures this year.
Wow.
My jaw would lock up. It sucked, dude. I'm so grateful to be off of it.
Yeah.
I wish that upon my worst enemy. But like, yeah, I wouldn't. It was the perfect drug for me because I've struggled with anxiety for as long as I can remember. Luckily, I'm medicated now. Here, I don't know. I came in here on no meds besides Adderall and Xanax, and they have me like on a good regimen now.
Awesome.
So I think I'm chilling now. But it was gnarly, bro. I can't ever go back on that. I called my doctor, let him know what was going on. Because that was the problem. I was getting them for, $1.40 count every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
From Walgreens. I wasn't having to go buy. I would buy them when I ran out. Like, go buy some sticks, those Mexican ones, the farmer prams.
The blank ones?
Yeah, the blank ones, you already know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I feel like I haven't interviewed a lot of people with pills, and it's probably a different game when you're getting them, your drug from a doctor. So I commend you for that, and I'm really glad that you're doing better. That's so cool,
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Oh yeah. Can you talk about amateur boxing? I know you got into that.
Yeah.
And like, some of the matches that you were setting up around LA.
Yeah, so once I got to college, I played football and wrestled all through high school. It's something I took really seriously. And I got to college and my drinking and using, I was like, dude, I'm gonna get out of shape. Like, I need to do something psychologically and physically. So I boxed a little bit. Like, my dad was a boxer, and I was kind of into boxing before I got into high school. But I just kind of picked it up in Venice, actually, when I was living in Westchester. This little gym called CMC Pro Boxing, and dude, I just started going in there every single day and working my ass off, and eventually I got pretty good. I've been doing it for 5 years now, and 2017 to now, and we do like competitions around LA, little smoker shows. I fought 3 times, only 3 times, 3-0, and I'm really into it, dude. It's saved my life, honestly. Because during the day, those are the only times I'd be sober. So now that I can do it sober the whole time, I feel like it's gonna pick up more. I'll have more fights.
Yeah.
Something I took really seriously.
That's badass.
Yeah, dude, I love it.
That's super cool, man. It's such a cool hobby I feel like to have, and to be able to know how to defend yourself, and it's like a cool skill, I think.
Absolutely. It only served me back one time though. Like, back to Venice, I was walking home from the gym, and I was getting robbed by like a tweaker popped out of a tent.
Yeah.
Like, demanding my backpack, and I hit him, and he dropped. And then, like, bro, they started popping out of like tents all around. Like,
No
knowing how to
way.
fight served against me. Yeah, and I got hit with a 2x4 and broke my jaw, and I had to have it wired shut for like 2 months. So that served me. Like, if I would have just like not fought him and just gave it up, then it would have been cool. But that's one time it didn't serve me well. But wow, like, it's still a part of me for sure. Venice always will be. But in terms of my sobriety, I'm trying to cool it on there for a while. I'll still go there to box and whatnot,
Yeah.
but all the trouble I've gotten into out there, I'm trying to take a step back, you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, and there's something to be said about that. I mean, I had to do that too with up in the valley. That's why I came down here to get clean. I'm not like leaving permanently, but taking a good little 5-month break.
Exactly.
And do you think when you eventually do go back there, you'll go back to a different city in LA, or you go back to Venice?
I'm gonna go back to a different city for now.
Okay.
So I'll be going to a different like sober living, and then
Yeah.
I'll be back in Venice though after that.
Okay, cool.
Because once I conquer this shit, like I can go anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true, man. It's 100%. That I believe that to be true. Yeah, it's all about the mindset and where you're at spiritually, and cool shit, dude. Do you have any what else is next, do you think?
Shit, man, I'm getting back in school this semester.
Nice.
Trying to close out by the semester after this. Fucking get back to work.
Hell
Get
yeah.
in sober living, and just continue on this streak, bro. Get back into boxing.
Yeah.
get back in my gym. Been working out heavily here. Just keep working. It's the longest I've been sober. About to hit 90 days, what I mean?
Congratulations, man. That's so
Thanks,
cool.
bro.
Well, thanks for doing this interview with me, Rich.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me, bro.
Of course.
Appreciate it.